Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. My name is Mark. Well, again, here we have another one of my productions, the last one, the Flat Earth Quitters. Have a comment from a Flat Earth expert. Let's go into what a Flat Earth expert is. George G.G. Windmaker is a Flat Earth expert. An expert example of the Flat Earth idea mentality, because he uses some crude language and other stuff and expresses to me, just states flat out, the moon's not this. Cruise control, autopilot for a plane is like cruise control for a car. You know, he's an expert on airplanes, and it doesn't work. The moon isn't this far away in this stuff. Okay. Well, let's get into this is a Flat Earth expert. Now, a Flat Earth expert is like a expert in this. Okay, why do, I mean, it does have its functionality in entertainment, but it's fantasy. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? It does have, but what is the value and purpose of being an expert in that, really? Yeah. So, I have a question for this George G.G. Windmaker. Why? Why would you even try? Haven't you noticed that Taboo Conspiracy, BMLSB 69, Flat Earth A-Hole, Flat Earth Hub, Jeranism, none of these people will debate me. And you step up to the plate and try to debate me? Oh, man. I was going to write you I did include on my video, I was going to write you, but I told you, you know what, I'll just make a video reply. Because Flat Earth people are like this. You know what the significance of a horse with blinders on? If you could talk to a horse and ask it, what does the world consist of? A racehorse with blinders on would tell you, the world is a racetrack, a watering trough, and a trailer. That's what the world is. Maybe a watering trough, a feed bag, a feed bin. That's all there is. That is what a horse with if you were to tell a horse with blinders on, oh no, there's oceans, there's mountains, the horse would say, are you crazy? I can see with my eyes. The world consists of a racetrack, a feed bin, a feed bag, a trailer, and a watering trough, and other horses' butts if I'm slower. You know, that's the world. And see, Flat Earth believers have blinders on. He was telling me that a compass doesn't work on a ball. Well, here's how a compass works. It actually works perfectly fine on a ball. There's magnetic lines of force all around the ball that this point, any point on here, it's pointing to true north. Where do flat earthers come in on this? They say the sun is circling around and circling around and circling around. Okay? So where does the magnetic field and a compass not work? On a flat earth. It's exactly the opposite. It works perfectly fine there. Absolutely exact. So, airplane. He's become an expert on airplanes, even though has no idea, because he knows nothing about trim, about airplanes at all. I happened to actually I sat in the cockpit in 1993 of an L-1011. Now this Lockheed, once you put input into the computer, you could actually input your designation into the computer. If you got that plane to the end of the runway, and I don't know, maybe even before, once you got that to the end of the runway and you told it where you were at, what direction you were heading, what direction you wanted to go, where you wanted to be at a certain time, Technically on an L-1011, a plane that last flew in 1994, technically on an L-1011, the pilot and co-pilot can sit and have a game of cards, because the airplane could have taken off by itself, lifted up, you know, flattened out, turned, bank, avoid mountains, the whole 9 yards, all on its own. And that was in 1994. And we're at 2017, where we got the A380s and others. These planes, it's not like cruise control in a car is just simply sticking the gas pedal in one position or another. It doesn't hit the brake. It doesn't hit the accelerator. It just locks the accelerator into a certain position. It doesn't steer the steering wheel. Nothing. But an autopilot in a modern jet can land the plane in the dark at night by itself while the pilot and co-pilot are playing cards. Technically it can. So this guy, when he claims, he says, airplane, neither does an airplane compensate for curvature 8 inches squared. Autopilot for a plane is like cruise control for a car. Does a car steer itself on cruise control? No. What has that got to do with it? Cruise control is not like autopilot for a plane. There are different kinds of autopilots. There are airplanes with car-like cruise controls that simply lock the ailerons, rudder, you know, the yoke into a certain position and freeze it there. And if you accidentally leave the trim adjusted, you could climb until you reach ceiling and stall out. Or if the trim's adjusted the other way, plummet to the ground at a very slow pace. You know, I mean, you could do that. But this guy is so, you know, he spouts it off like he's an expert, and he doesn't know diddly jack. Well, that is, see, the magnetic lines of force that he thinks he knows, he has no clue how they work. I was going to tell him, tell you what, get a magnet, get some wax paper, sprinkle out some filings, and see what happens. You know, do your thing, and see that you really don't know what you're talking about. There are, on a ball, magnetic lines of force work perfectly with a compass. That's why they work. But here he sits, you know, it's just like in my Flat Earth Quitters. Francis Peak is there's a radar dome where you can actually look out over the desert for miles. You can stare out over the desert from this peak. You're 5,200 feet above the level of Great Salt Lake, and you can see for 100 miles, 150 actually. But what you're looking at is mountain peaks that are shorter than you that are blocking the sun. That can't happen on a flat Earth. You can't have a mountain peak shorter than you casting a shadow when the sun is 6,000 miles away, 3,000 miles high. You know, it's just the stupidity, especially the stupidity of good old George debating me about how autopilot works on an airplane when I had a father-in-law who was a pilot. Dude, just take the blinders off. Look around. The world is not your seemingly flat little square. Climb a mountain peak. Watch the sun go behind a mountain that is less high, less tall, shorter than you. And then think to yourself, if I stand a little child on a basketball court, halfway across the basketball court, and then have a basketball player stand on the other side, is the child going to hide what I can see of the basketball player on the other side? Stick a basketball player a block away. Put the child a quarter of a block away. and all three of you stand straight in the air, is the child going to block what I see of the basketball player? Maybe up to the waist if you're lucky. But if the basketball player has a headlamp on, is the child somehow going to shadow the basketball player? Am I somehow not going to be able to see the headlamp glowing in the dark of a basketball player that stands 7 feet tall if a child who stands 4 feet tall is between us? No. The sun. Is the sun on a flat earth going to be blocked by a mountain that is 900 feet shorter than myself? 1,000 feet shorter? No. On a globe, yeah, it happens all the time. You know, when children get out of the third grade, when they're 8, you know, when they get out of graduate the third grade and they're 9 years old, they know more than you, George, because they have their blinders off. A child understands more than you because this is you. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Mark with Productions MJC.